My friends, I am so excited for today. I have a really good friend on the show. I could not wait to bring her on. She is beautiful inside and out. Sarah, my friend, please introduce yourself to the listeners today.
Hi, so glad to be here. I'm Sarah Cornwell. I am the owner and designer of Sarah Cornwell Jewelry, and we make very dainty, feminine, everyday, lightweight jewelry that really can go with you from morning till night.
Great. I love the jewelry line. It's fantastic. It's classic and classy all at the same time, Sarah. So we were talking a little bit in the green room about your journey here, and you have so many fascinating stories and things that you've overcome to get where you are with your success today. And one thing that sticks out in my mind, Sarah, when we were talking about things, even last week when I got to visit the studio, you guys, oh my gosh, the jewelry is amazing. It's all handmade. But, there were a couple of stories of rejection where you could have just dropped everything and said, okay, I'm done. But someone said something to you and you decided not to listen to them. Let's tell everybody what we're talking about here.
There was a couple of times through the last, especially there was 10 years of where I really got some negative messages that were so hard to overcome. But the one that really sticks out to me was I had gone into a boutique that was local in my hometown. I had a ton of hometown pride. I felt like I still do. I still live here. So I was so excited to go into this boutique and talk to them about my jewelry. And the woman said to me, and I'll just never forget it. And it was, she was older than me. And I felt like I had a lot of respect for her going in. I had researched her. And she said to me, why would I buy your jewelry when I can go to China and get it for 10th of the price? And it just crushed me. I was It really deflated me. I was angry. I was frustrated. Not even to talk to me or it wasn't even those words. It was also just kind of really feeling blown off.
Yeah.
Um, and not interested at all.
Wow. It breaks your heart, right? Because it really breaks your heart, but you overcame that. What kinds of things did you tell yourself? Like you walked away from that conversation and then what? And then what happened?
Well, and there was a couple other times that, little things like that happened along the way and you just kind of get beaten down. And then I think one of the biggest things that worked for me was focusing on the positive, right? And kind of that glass half full situation where, it stuck with me. It was like a pit in my stomach. I have to be honest and say that it wasn't easy to overcome because I wish someone had said that to me, that I really felt like, is this a message from the universe? Is this what is happening? And really, truly questioned everything. But then something just comes in where you start to focus on, these positive messages you're getting and this confirmation in your craft from other people. And it's so easy to focus on the negative, right? That's like, I think our natural human be as it's our natural pull, and
Yes.
really being able to focus on the positives and use that to carry.
Yeah, that is such great advice because that can happen to us daily, right? And especially when we're getting things started and we're having enough self-doubt as it is.
That's so true.
Right. And then there's someone out there to match that self-doubt and your mind just explodes. And like you said, is this a sign? But I'll share something with you that I've heard over and over, and it's rejection is redirection. So yeah, they rejected your thought, but you redirected it into that positive lane. Like you drove right back in and said, I'm going to keep doing. And like you said, something comes in and tells you to move forward because I know the people that put on your jewelry feel great and it really lights people up. And especially, after having these past 2 years challenge us, we need pretty little things in our lives that you offer to get us there. Right. So what other stories can we share just to help everybody out there, whether you're in a corporate position or on your own or building your business? These are things that we need to support each other with. right?
100%. And the stories really help because I feel like you hear other women's stories or men's, and you feel so alone when you're going through it, right? You feel so
Right.
like, well, everybody else, it's easy for them. Why is this hard for me? Everybody else can just, things work out. All of a sudden they have a business and they didn't have to do a lot and they were liked automatically. And I wonder if people might look at me even on the outside and think, oh gosh, it was easy for her. She's so confident. Oh my gosh, that is so untrue. It is so the opposite. At 46, how much I struggle with confidence. And
Wow.
it is an everyday struggle. I remember going into a very high-end boutique. This is when I lived in Arizona shortly, and just really loving the boutique and wanting to be, someone I think had suggested I go in there. And I just felt like they were just dragging me along, like, oh, call me tomorrow, and I was a social worker at the time. So I was still working another full-time job, and call me tomorrow, we'll talk. And then I'd call tomorrow and she wouldn't answer. And it would drag on over and over. And I was so hurt. And then I finally met with them after weeks of back and forth. And she basically said, well, why don't you change? What if we changed this? And what if we did this? And I was so hurt again, leaving and feeling like you're changing everything about my aesthetic.
Right.
And that hurt so badly.
Right.
But I think I also walked away, that those two situations really stick out in my brain and in my heart. But they also taught me that it's okay that not everybody loves me.
Yes.
And that's hard as a people pleaser. That's a hard thing to accept and to be okay with.
Right.
But it also, I will say, 10 years later, it has really helped me to fine tune my brand and be okay with who I am and not try to fit into a mold. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like this happened overnight. It was a process over about 10 years. Of really trying to accept my own brand and who I am. And that's not going to be, it's not going to match with everybody. That's
exactly.
Okay.
And that's okay. So what we're saying here is not everybody's going to be our person. So what you realized over time is that she's just not your people. And I hear it too, Sarah, like we hear our voice, and yes, as people pleasers, we want to get out there and say, well, then I'll make something for you. And then you try to change your aesthetic, like, oh, okay, well but then that's getting away from our true character, our talent, and all of that. So what you have just shared is just so perfect, because I think we all are challenged, especially as women, daily, all day sometimes. And we have to just remember, rejection is redirection. Let's drive back into that positive lane and look at it that way. But you sharing these real stories, these realistic stories, and you've overcome them. And I love how you've also shared that it just doesn't happen overnight.
It really doesn't. I think that's the biggest thing that I wish someone had told me, because I feel like you see other businesses, other companies, other individuals, that it just looks like it was so easy, that they just took off. They put their thoughts out there. They started a podcast, or they started a blog, or they started a product, and it was just instant overnight. And diving deeper into other women business owners, or, through my coaching, I'm learning that is so not true. That
So not
very
true.
rarely happens. And if it does, usually they disappear in about 6 months.
Right.
There's not that longevity because they didn't put the time in to build that foundation.
That's right.
And they kind of come up out of nowhere. They might take off, and then they're gone.
And then they're gone. So the other thing we're saying is we have to put in the work, right? Yes. Physically, emotionally, mentally. It's just doing the work, which is the work and then we can do work. Then we can serve others with beautiful jewelry or services that we were here to do. So, we mentioned confidence, and one of my favorite questions is that I love to ask everybody here sitting on the other side is, what is your favorite piece of clothing or accessory, and how does it make you feel?
That's an easy one because I have them on right now. So these are, this is really easy. These are the Phoebes. And and I've heard it from other women too. I had a woman come into my studio and she said, I was going to the pool and I had my pool cover up on and I was like, oh, and I had my bag. And she said, I was missing something. And she's like, and I put my Phoebes on. And she's like, I was ready to go to the pool. So it's not just women in business, it's just day-to-day life. She was going to the pool with her kids. Didn't matter what she looked like.
Right.
But I feel like these are armor. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like it doesn't matter what top I have on. If I have these earrings, it's a conversation starter. It just they make me feel fantastic.
And they look fantastic.
Well,
And,
thank you.
I talk about when we're in the Zoom room, we don't want things that are too distracting,
Yeah.
and Zoom and those are not, they're just the right
They're like
touch.
subtle enough, right?
Yep.
But they're big. I mean, they're big earrings, but they're just
they're
enough
not too big.
sparkle. Mhm.
Yeah, they're perfection. They're
Well, thank
absolute
you.
perfection. So we have something exciting to share today too, that everyone, this is the most exciting collaboration, and Sarah has something to announce to the listeners today.
Yes, so we would love to meet more of you. We are offering 10% off your first purchase with us. Just kind of get to know us. I think once you buy with us and shop with us, you'll be back. But we want to give you a little break to get to know us. So you can use Confidence 10 and right through our website, and that will you can pick out a piece or a few pieces that might help you with your everyday. Just feel a little bit more confident.
I love that. Confidence 10. Woohoo. It's
Yes.
like one of the pillars of this podcast. And I'll share that code and the link in the show notes, Sarah, so that everyone has access to it. And listen, gentlemen, women in your lives, daughters, nieces, your significant other, this jewelry makes great gifts as well. Because again, it's just that little piece that, as Sarah speaks to, that's all that you need. It completes the outfit, right? It completes that confidence profile as we step out. So Sarah, you've been such a joy. You've been such a joy today. If someone wanted to continue the conversation with you, what's the best place where's the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, well, our website is sarahcornwelljewelry.com. Everything's on there. We have a huge website. And then we also, if you go to Instagram or Facebook, it's just at Sarah Cornwell Jewelry.
So that is great. I will put all of those links in the show notes. Your story is magnificent. And I thank you for sharing your vulnerability, because when we're in this, Sarah, we really help other people. And like we said, this is something that we all face every day, regardless. So thank you for offering you and yourself and your greatness to the audience today.
Well, thanks for having me. And I'm so glad you're doing what you're doing.
Thank you, my friend. Well, you have a beautiful day.
You too.